And welcome back to more Carno Shoujo, the second episode. I know all of you must have thought that this was a murder mystery, but no, you were all wrong. It's actually a day in the life of Yukari. It's all about, like, you know, it's a high school drama. It's a slice of life. It's just all about, you know, high school girls hanging out and, you know, having fun. I mean, it's kind of been that way for around the end of the last part, and probably somewhat of this part too. I don't know. It's I guess it's supposed to be the levity of the game, you know, just Yukari and her friends. It kind of was like that in the last game too, so I can sort of understand. You really do need some levity in a game like this when it's just really, really dark, very dark and grim, like 98% of the time. Her morning classes end. The room, quiet during class, gets a little noisy at times like this. It's time for lunch. Yukiko remains seated at her desk, leisurely taking her lunch out of her bag. It's a small lunch her mother made for her. Rice and a few vegetables. She doesn't eat very much to begin with, and there are a lot of things she simply doesn't eat, so this is sufficient. Kayahara-san. When she picks up her chopsticks to eat, Yukari addresses her from the seat in front. Yes? Would you like to eat with us? Huh? Ignoring her hesitation, Yukari scoots her desk over to Yukiko's. Me too! Kohane brings her chair over too. Oh, are we bothering you? Yukari asks apologetically, sensing Yukiko's discomfort. No, that's not it. They're not bothering her at all. In fact, she's very happy. She just can't keep up with the situation. Thank you. You don't need to thank me for anything. Yukari smiles and opens up her lunchbox. It's a big box. There isn't a lot of rice, mostly side dishes. Here you go. Last night was nikujaga, huh? Kohane's chopsticks go right for the meat. Kaihara-san, if there's something you'd like, feel free to have some too. Okay. Now she's in trouble. She can't eat most meats. She doesn't really like potatoes either. Carrots are completely out of the question. Ito konyaku, she can eat it, but it would be odd to only pick that out. She checks out the non-nikujaga items. Potato salad and greens. Sausage, skillfully cut into octopus shapes. It would be worse to say she didn't want any of it. Of the things she thinks she can eat, she looks at the tsukudani. The tsukudani? Tsukudani is a preserved food typically composed of seafood, meat, or seaweed simmered in soy sauce and mirin, a rice similar to sake but with lower alcohol content. Black tsukudani. It's probably either seaweed or kelp. If so, she thinks she can eat it. Then, as soon as Yukiko reaches out with her chopsticks. Hey Yukarichi, what kind of tsukudani is this? She asks Yukari as she points to it. It's zazumushi. Yukari casually declares as she picks up some with her chopsticks and carries it to her mouth. Zazamushi? Stonefly larva. It's a Nagano specialty. Ugh. Oh god, bugs. Ew. It's a good thing she didn't take that, yeah. I'd have to agree. After school, Yukiko sits frozen in front of some drawing paper in the art club room. The paper is still pure white. She has no idea what she should draw. Draw hentai. The art room has things like plaster busts, animal bones, and wax models of fruit lying around. There's also a large dark brown cloth bag in the corner of the room, though she has no idea what's inside it. Human remains. She should probably line up a few of them and draw them, but she gets the feeling that's not quite right either. She picks up the fake lemon and stares at it. Its color and shape are exactly like the real thing. It even has the bumpy surface and little stem. Kayahara-san? Yes? She turns around, still holding the lemon. It's just practice, so you don't need to stress over it too much. I know, but... Looks like Yukari knew exactly what she was thinking. Well, why don't you draw something like this? Yukari put the fake apple in a box roughly the same size on a desk. You should draw these with the light hitting them from the side. Yukiko moves a little as Yukari suggested. The light hits the apple from the side and a shadow extends from this other side. The sides of the box are clearly different shades. Don't worry about the shape of the apple too much, just concentrate on getting the shadows right. Okay. Thank you. She picks up her pencil and stares stiffly at the apple and box. She draws a rough circle. That's not right. She gets rid of the line with an eraser. One more time. I got it right that time, I think. She draws the box as well. This one is just straight lines, so it's easy. It might be a little crooked though. The door to the room opens. Oh, Yukiko-chan's drawing something. The eagle-eyed Kohane heads over to Yukiko. What you drawing? Nothing yet. She suddenly feels self-conscious and flips over her drawing paper, even if it's just a square and a circle right now. You're drawing the apple, huh? Kohane asks, looking at the apple on the desk in front of her. Yes, I've only drawn a circle so far, though. She replies honestly. Just so you know, you can't eat that apple, Kohane. No, really? Kohane walks over to Yukari. She's a little relieved. She flips her paper over again and returns her gaze to the apple and box. The apple has fallen over. Oh. She compares what she's drawn and the subject in front of her. It's not all that different, I think. Still, Yukiko sets her paper down and stands, setting the apple up again. The door opens again and Yukiko turns her eyes to it. Hello. It's an unfamiliar student. Judging from her uniform, she seems to be an underclassman. Oh, Sato-san. Oh, okay, that's Sato Ayamu. That's who I thought it was. Yukari walks over to the girl. She appears to be an acquaintance of Yukari's. Are you heading to club? Yes. Sorry for all the trouble. When Yukiko looks up, not understanding their conversation, her eyes meet with those of the girl. Oh. She looks down again right away. She's not good with meeting people for the first time. She doesn't know what to do. Of course, that doesn't change no matter how many times she talks to someone. Oh, Kayahara-san? Yes? Yukari calls her name and she timidly raises her face. Let me introduce you. This is Sato Ayamu-san. I've been her upperclassman since high school. It's nice to meet you. I'm Sato Ayamu. Oh, nice to meet you. She bows her head after Ayamu. This is Kaihara Yukiko-san. She's my friend who just joined the art club. Yukari introduces Yukiko. Oh, I'm Kaihara Yukiko. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Right. Not sure exactly what the pleasure could be. Yukiko agrees ambiguously. If you'll excuse me then. Aimu heads to the corner of the room and picks up the brown cloth bag. Upon a closer look, she sees a label hanging from it reading Sato. It must belong to her. Sorry for leaving this here all the time. It's fine. We certainly have space to spare. I'm taking good care of it, so I don't think it should smell too bad. What could be inside? Probably her clothes. Curious? Kohane suddenly whispers into her ear. What? Aimu-chan's in the kendo club. She leaves her armor and stuff in here. That's what I thought it was. Kohane starts explaining before Yukiko can ask. It looks like a heavy bag. Well, I'll be going. Thank you. Shouldering her armor bag, Aimu leaves the room. The kendo club? She wasn't even aware they had a club like that. She had thought they were all ladylike clubs, like the flower arranging and tea ceremony clubs. They don't seem to be very good in the competitions, though. Yukari says with a wry smile. Well, what do you think? I thrust a coin out before Yukari. I see. Oh, is that the coin the newspaper was talking about? Yukari sounds exasperated. What about it? Look closer. It says 100 yen on it, right? Yes? On the side with a phoenix engraved on it are the kanji for 100 yen. It just came out today, you know. There was a huge line in front of the bank this morning, so it took a really long time to exchange for it. You went in the morning and lined up? Yukari sounds... No, she's clearly exasperated now. It was a good opportunity. I scraped together a bunch of change and brought it to the bank just for this, since I didn't have the courage to break up a 1,000 yen bill. And your work? I'm taking care of it. It's not like I've been spending all day grunting at my new currency. It was 10 minutes at most. I'm glad that I held on to the 100 yen bill that just came out last year. Hey, it might have some value in the future. I think 100 yen's 100 yen, and I think I'd confuse this with the 50 yen coin. You think? I fish out a 50 yen coin from my wallet. See? They're the same color. But the 50 yen's nickel, the 100's silver, you know. Uh-huh. She doesn't seem too interested. Well, you can have this as spending money. Go have some coffee at Moon World or something. I'll gratefully accept it, but If I spent it, what was the point of exchanging for it? I just wanted to see it right away since it was new. I'm sure there'll be a bunch in circulation soon. I suppose you're right. Thank you. Yukari puts away the 100 yen coin. By the way, Nissan. Yukari suddenly straightens her posture. What? Out of reflex, I straighten up too. We're about to run out of rice, so I'd like it if you could buy 10 kilograms or so. Gotcha. Guess this is the last I'll see of that 1,000 yen bill I held onto. Yeah, there goes the rest of your money. It's weird how we transition from the whatever's happening to the case to Yukari's life. We transition to it again. Yukari's daily life. Maybe that's what I should call this part, just Yukari's daily life. The bell signaling the end of the day's classes rings. Yukiko is still copying the contents of the blackboard to her notebook. She had stopped taking notes to listen to the professor at some point and wasn't able to take all her notes down in time. She frantically tries to copy down the rest. The student who must be on duty today heads to the blackboard. It's swept away in a single movement. White dust covers the blackboard. The part she hasn't finished copying yet is cleanly erased. She sighs. There was only a little bit left too. Kayahara-san? Yukari looks back at her from where she stands. Yes? Would you like to copy mine? Huh? Yukari holds out her notebook. Thank you very much. She timidly accepts the notebook and flips through its pages. Tidy handwriting covers the pages. Each character is perfectly arranged, not a single line astray. It's very easy to read and understand. Yukiko starts copying it down right away. Can I copy it too? Kohane comes up and asks. You don't do a thing until right before a test, Kohane. She copies the part she didn't have time to take down while listening to their conversation. But it's easier to just copy them all at once at Moonworld. You never finish writing before you're done with your coffee, you know. Moonworld. That's what's written on the bags of coffee beans her mother brings home sometimes, she recalls. I wonder if they're talking about the same shop. Oh, Tokisaka-san? Yes? Yukari looks over at her. Thank you very much. She returns the notebook now that she's done copying. You're welcome. Let's head to the club room. Right. The three of them enter the club room and begin their individual activities. Of course, all Kohane is doing is reading a novel, and all Yukari is doing is looking at an art book. Yukiko sets up the apple and box from yesterday a short distance from the two of them, and she gazes at her drawing paper from yesterday. You know, that's really damn good for someone who's just a beginner. Now that she looks at it again, the lines are definitely crooked. Yeah, it's not symmetrical. That's what would drive me crazy. It's not symmetrical. Everything else though, like the shading and the lighting is fucking incredible. Like the yeah, like it's really okay, so like the top of the box, that's not like the vanishing point. I think that's what you would call it. Like so where it ends right here, that's not how it should look basically. It's yeah, that's crooked. That's not straight. That's not like a straight edge, I guess you would say. Like it's not going straight out. So yeah, that would bother the hell out of me. But the apple looks great actually. The box has some problems. The cloth looks fantastic. I like how the cloth looks. The cloth of the table or the surface. That looks great. That's just my opinion as an artiste. It doesn't look at all like the sketches in the art textbooks. Well, it takes time to get to that point. Maybe she shouldn't have just drawn the lines. She practices a little in a corner of the paper. She moves her pencil like she's connecting lines little by little. When she does, it starts to look a little more authentic. They're still as crooked as ever, though. Things like that just kind of naturally come to you. But the fact that she's like, just like, you know, she hasn't really drawn anything before and she's drawing like that's pretty damn impressive. See, that makes me think that leaves me with a theory. And if you guys remember the beginning of this game, there was a crying baby. If you also remember certain characteristics of certain characters, you remember that Aito is a pretty talented artist. We don't know if Satsuki is, though. But the fact that this girl looks a lot like Satsuki, and also, I think this part of the game is important because it's highlighting a certain characteristic of Yukiko in that she might, you know, she hasn't drawn before, but when she does draw, she seems to have kind of a natural talent. So that kind of makes me connect some dots in my mind. I'm wondering if she's not somehow the offspring of Ayato and Satsuki. I don't know. That's just my theory. I could be totally wrong because I'm thinking of it, and I don't know. Like, she would have had to have gotten, like, she would have, well, that also doesn't really make a lot of sense. If she's dead, she would have had to have already been pregnant. So yeah, it's probably not their child because she was not pregnant before she got murdered. So I don't know. Maybe not their child, but I feel like she has some relation. Maybe not to Ayato, maybe to Satsuki. Definitely to Satsuki. I'm definitely thinking she's related to Satsuki somehow. I just don't know how. Kayahara-san. Yukari calls out to her. Yes? How are you doing? Oh, She can't answer the question at all. Tokisaka-san? Yes? If you could, do you think you could show me an example or something? Her words almost fade out at the end. Yes, of course. Yukari nods, smiling. Yukari sits down and picks up a pencil. First, she takes down light general shapes, a square and a circle. As she moves her pencil, they gradually become more solid. The side of the box facing the light is lighter, and the lines touching the desk are darker. Occasionally, she stops and compares her drawing to the real thing. Yukiko watches from behind her. She catches sight of the pale white nape of her neck. Because of her short hair, she can even see the shape of her spine under her skin. Her small ears. Yukari turns around. Don't try to draw it all at once. Just keep putting lines down like this. Is something wrong? Oh, no. It's nothing. She can't admit her fascination while staring at her. Yeah, I was like, okay. Is she interested in her or something? She doesn't think she has those tendencies. Maybe you're just in the closet about it. The one who did was, Yukari-chi, when are you going to finish this one? Yukiko's thoughts are cut short by Kohane's voice. When she looks up, she sees Kohane looking at a page in Yukari's sketchbook. It's the sketch of the Virgin Mary she saw before, the one that convinced her to join the art club. Well, I wasn't quite satisfied with just drawing it, so I'm thinking a little more about what I want to do with it. So that's why you're looking at that art book before. Yep, that's right. Why don't you draw her nude? I don't think she'd be too happy with that. Yeah, she is the Virgin Mary. She doesn't want that. I don't think she'd like that too much. You're right. Yukiko agrees, then tilts her head. Why did she suppose she wouldn't be happy? She's not particularly passionate about religion. Perhaps because it would be dishonoring an object of worship? Or... I'll give it a little more thought. Her thoughts are cut off by Yukari's voice. Yes, I think you should. When Yukiko agrees, Yukari looks at her curiously. Huh? Did I say something strange? No, it's just... Yukari grins widely. I'm really happy you shared your opinion. No, I shouldn't have been so presumptuous. Suddenly growing self-conscious, Yukiko averts her gaze from Yukari. Parting ways with the two of them, Yukiko walks in front of the Kichijoji station. A long shadow extends from her feet. She walks toward the shopping district, recalling where she thinks her destination is. After she passes through a street where adults in business suits are drinking in standing shops. Oh. She spots a stylish signboard that says Moonworld. A sign that says open hangs on the door. This must be the place. She stares furtively into the illuminated interior of the shop from a window facing the street. Doesn't look like there are any customers. Someone who looks like an employee stands behind the counter. She wanted to avoid running into her mother here. She backs up a little and confirms the contents of her wallet. She has 84 yen. A cup of coffee should be about 50 yen, so she probably has enough. Not in the mood to go straight home, Yukiko pushes the door open. Welcome. She's greeted by the female employee's voice. She looks around inside the shop once more. There's one table by the entrance. The rest are all counter seats. Go ahead and sit wherever you'd like, she says amicably, probably noticing Yukiko's hesitation. Okay. After some consideration, Yukiko decides on a seat in the very back of the shop and sits down. Here, she won't get in the way if other customers come, and she probably won't stand out too much. Glancing at the price list on the counter, she checks the price of a coffee, 45 yen. She'll have tea today. It's no different from the price of coffee, but she's in a tea mood today.
Black tea, please. Certainly. 1 moment, please.
She seems like a nice person. That's what Yukiko thinks. She takes a paperback out of her bag while she waits for her tea. It's very quiet and easy to relax here, probably because there aren't any other customers. There's a record player in the corner. She wonders if they play music in here sometimes. That might be nice too, she thinks. She opens her book and calmly starts reading. Not that the book's contents are particularly calming.
Thanks for waiting.
With a pleasant aroma, tea is laid before her.
Please take your time. Thanks.
With a small nod to her, she puts her fingers in between the pages and shuts the book. She brings her nose up to the coffee and notices a sweet scent, even though she hasn't put any milk into it yet. After enjoying the scent for a bit, she gently pours in some milk. The sweet scent grows even stronger. She brings it to her lips. The slightly strong tea blends with the milk to create a very rich flavor.
Is it good?
The employee asks her.
Oh, yes.
She nods honestly.
I'm glad. The leaves were a little bitter today, so I was worried. It's not bitter at all.
It's quite nice. She doesn't know much about the quality of tea, but it certainly isn't too bitter to drink or anything like that.
You go to Oba Academy, right? Yes.
That much is immediately obvious from her uniform.
I know some girls who go there.
She wonders if she's referring to Yukari and Kohane. She's curious, but she can't bring herself to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. You get back to reading your book.
She must have noticed that Yukiko's finger was still stuck inside her book. She apologizes and walks away from Yukiko. Her gaze follows the woman's back without her even realizing it. She's washing things behind the counter near the entrance. Even the sound of water is comforting. She takes another sip of tea and opens her book. She likes this atmosphere. I think I'll come to this shop again sometime. Everyone's favorite coffee shop. I buy the rice at a shop in front of Kichijoji Station, and I immediately regret it. A 10-kilogram paper bag. Carrying this thing home on foot will be difficult. Maybe annoying is a better word. It was a mistake buying it impulsively because it was a little cheaper. I should have bought it a bit closer to home. But even if I regret it, it's too late. There's not much I can do about it now that I've already bought it. I thought maybe I'd get a taxi to take me home. But there's a huge line in front of the station. It's just about time for the regular company employees to be heading home. Guess I'll kill some time until the trains get a little less crazy. And if I'm going to kill time, I'm gonna go to my favorite coffee shop. I walk to Moonworld, bag of rice on my shoulder. You know, I could just leave it here and come pick it up by car later. Though that's annoying in its own way when it's only a few kilometers away. The shop's door opens. I see a familiar uniform and coat. She glances at me for a second and then passes by with a short nod. Just like Yukari, huh? An Oba Academy student.
What could... Tokisaka-kun?
Kyoko grins broadly, followed by a slight frown.
Delivering some rice, I see.
To our house, yeah. I set the rice bag down on the floor, take off my coat, and sit down on a stool. The taxi rank in front of the station was crowded, so I'm killing some time till it thins out.
Isn't your house pretty close to here, Tokisaka-kun?
It's not exactly easy to carry all that rice, you know.
Oh, you're a big boy. You can handle it.
I'm not sure if boy is appropriate considering my age.
Is coffee okay?
Sure. Huh? When I look over at the back of the shop, I see something sitting on top of a stool. What could that be? I stand up and head to the back. It's a thin paperback. I casually pick it up, and then see the title. The Shell of Sheol. Author Katsuragi Shin.
Did the girl who was just here leave it?
I see. I pick up my coat while holding the book and head to the door.
Tokisaka-kun?
I remember her face, and she couldn't have gone far. I'll take it to her. I leave the shop without waiting for Kyoko's response. The girl bumped into me and then headed toward the station. I'll search over there first. People in plain clothes come and go in front of the station, but I don't see the girl. One would assume there shouldn't be many girls around her age at this hour, so I figured it'd be easier to find her. I get closer to the station and look onto the platforms, but there are too many people to tell if she's there. Guess I'll check out the other side of the station, in Okushira Park. If I don't find her there, I'll give up. Street lights dot the park. I jog down the promenade. My breath is white. I haven't seen anyone else since entering the park. Yeah, she must have gotten on the train after all. But right when I'm about to throw in the towel, I see a girl not far from me leaning on the railing around the pond. Her unfocused gaze is turned toward the air in front of her as if she's lost in thought. Hey.
Huh?
I give a casual greeting with one hand in the air and the girl backs up a few steps. Well, I suppose it's completely normal to be suspicious. You forgot your book in the coffee shop, right?
Oh. Uh-huh.
The girl rifles through her bag.
Oh. It's not there.
Here, I brought it to you. I hand over the book.
Oh. The rice delivery man from earlier.
The girl mumbles, looking up at me. Not exactly.
Thank you very much.
The girl bows her head. You were reading that book?
Yes.
Could you tell me what you think of it, if you don't mind?
Huh?
The girl looks at me curiously. I'm just interested. In the book, that is. I choose my words carefully. I'm familiar with the events the Shell of Sheol was based on, but I can't tell that to this unrelated girl.
I think it's a sad story.
The girl gives her answer after a moment of thought. It's something like Katsuragi Shin's, that is, Miyama Shinji's autobiography. There are certainly some sympathetic elements, but...
I think I understand this boy's feelings.
You understand?
Yes, this boy has never been loved, so he's seeking a mother who will truly love him. I think I understand because I'm the same.
That's a dangerous thought process. Your mother?
I have one. She just adopted me, though.
Her voice seems to be lacking in emotion to my ears.
My mother takes very good care of me, but I don't think I seek love from her.
Do you not feel love from your own mother?
I don't know.
The girl shakes her head with a difficult expression.
Thank you for bringing me my book. I have to go.
It's almost like she's running away. The girl bows her head deeply, turns around, and runs off toward the station. Well, I'd probably want to run away too if I had a conversation like this with someone I just met. I have no reason to follow her, so I kill some time next to the pond. Seeking a mother who will love you, huh? However, what he, Mamiya Shinji, was seeking wasn't love. His was a conceited, one-sided delusion. It's dangerous. I regret not asking her name, but it's too late now. I wonder if we'll have the opportunity to meet again. Well, probably, considering she's pretty much on the cover of this game. I return to Moonworld.
Welcome back. Were you able to return her book?
Yeah, I managed. I sit back down at my seat. Kyoko sets a cup down right away.
You must be cold. Here you go.
Thanks. I bring the steaming coffee to my lips.
She was kind of like her, wasn't she?
Kyoko murmurs. You're imagining things. I know right away who she's comparing the girl to, but I shake my head. I see. She was worried about her relationship with her adoptive mother too, wasn't she? She's nothing like Toko. I keep telling herself that. The coffee I drink after muttering those words tastes awfully bitter. As soon as she makes it home, Yukiko flops down on top of her futon. She has no idea why she said so much. And to a man she'd never met before, no less. Was she just excited that someone asked her what she thought of the book she was reading? She has a feeling she was rambling on about things even she doesn't really understand. Her face burns with embarrassment. She pushes her face into her pillow. But even then, the heat doesn't seem to fade. What? Okay. What heat are we talking about here? Was she having some naughty thoughts? English class. Yukari stares absent-mindedly at her textbook. The professor recites an English sentence. There aren't any particularly difficult words in it. It's about Mark and Cebu arguing over who should go first. Why not settle the issue over rock, paper, scissors, she thinks lazily. Her gaze is drawn to the window, away from her textbook. Nice weather again today. She's able to see extra far thanks to the drop in temperature and the clear sky. Far away, a donut-shaped cloud drifts through the sky. Which reminds me, what should I make for dinner tonight? Her brother brought a bag of rice home for her yesterday. She should use the radish she has pickled. Then she can buy some croquettes on her way home, and a bit of miso soup. A simple meal, but it should suffice.
Tokisaka-san, please translate this sentence into Japanese. Yes, ma'am.
Her name is called, so she stands up and looks at the blackboard. It's not a particularly difficult sentence.
Usually, red cows are faster than red horses.
Very good. Have a seat.
Yes.
She sits down.
You're incredible,
Yukiko says to her quietly from the seat behind her.
I am not,
she replies quietly, since they're in class.
But
Next, if you translate this, Kaihara-san. Yukiko's name is called and she stands up, flustered.
Yes, ma'am. The Kaiser... Emperor.
She quietly gives her the Japanese translation.
Oh, the Emperor was victorious 91 times in the last 20 years?
Good enough. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Yukiko whispers in her ear just before sitting back down.
It was nothing.
Should I have said German Emperor? Yukari ponders absent-mindedly. Yeah, I guess if she was saying Kaiser, it must be like German Emperor or something. Walking a short ways from Kunitachi Station, Toji comes again to the Blessed Congregation headquarters in Kokibonji. Unlike before, there's no media presence around the building. It's a tranquil, winter, rural landscape. However, this building alone has a strange air around it. There's a black car parked in a spot near the entrance. It's gotta be either Oribe or Tsugi. One of the leaders is here. If they weren't, there would have been no point in Toji coming today. She went through the proper channels without the assistance of the police to schedule an interview. They imposed plenty of restrictions on her, of course, but just seeing and talking to them in person is the most important thing now. Even if it's a pointless conversation, it'll be important to gauge the temperaments of the leaders. She looks at her watch, a little before 2 p.m., the time of her appointment. She stands at the entrance and knocks on the door.
Yes?
There's a melancholic voice from inside. I have an appointment today. The name's Aoki. We've been waiting for you. The door opens. This way, please. While the gloomy woman guides her, Toji discreetly observes the interior of the building. It looks like there are quite a few people here. They're gathered in a spacious room doing some sort of work. Business of some kind, it seems. Guess that beats incomprehensible praying. She's taken to a room. Please wait here for a moment. The guide bows her head and takes her leave. She observes the room as she waits. It's neither a reception room nor an office. It's probably for ascetic training. There's an altar on the back wall. What's enshrined in it? The writing on the talisman is too elaborate. She can't read it. She can faintly make out the word blessed. As for the other things there, candles, a bell, some dumplings as an offering, there's nothing that looks like it could be related to the case. She's well aware she won't simply stumble upon a clay doll of a fetus here. Though there is, of course, a possibility they could be hiding one. Thank you for waiting. She turns around at a man's voice. It's a middle-aged man with a beard. The higher-up, Otsugi Keigo. Our leader will be here later. First, we have some things to confirm, however. I'm aware. You mean that the interview will be about the Blessed Congregation and you won't answer any questions related to the incident, right? I'm grateful for your understanding. Otsugi bows his head deeply. She has plenty of things she'd like to ask him about the murdered member, Itose Mizuki, but she'll clearly get no answers here. What are the members in the other room doing? Their jobs. Well, that's not vague at all. Otsugi continues as if it's perfectly natural. After the fall of Sinri, we gathered the remaining believers and began planning a fresh start. That is the Blessed Congregation. Otsugi keeps talking. We had nowhere near the amount of funds necessary for communal living. Thus, we started doing small jobs to earn meager pay. I see. Thanks to that, we somehow managed to earn enough to eat. What's the reason you're headquartered here? Because there was a convenient property available. Of course, we also wanted to eliminate the image of Sinri, and the particulars of how Sinri became the Blessed Congregation. I'll explain that. The voice comes from directly behind Keigo. When did he... We were not originally called Sinri, but the Congregation of the Blessed. The man, Oribe Tokihiro, slowly makes his way around to Toji's front. After the founder of the Congregation of the Blessed passed away, a new founder and his sect took control of the organization, renaming it Senri. Oribe stands directly in front of Toji now. He looks a little pale, Toji thinks. Perhaps he's ill? And did you two participate in Senri then? We were too close to the original founder, and we were shunned by Senri's administration. No wonder she hasn't seen them before. Toji accepts that explanation. The new founder's sect perverted the Congregation of the Blessed's teachings. They used the Holy Prophet to make apocalyptic pronouncements and incite unease in the people. I believe you should be familiar with the events of that time, Aoki Toji-san. I am. She nods reluctantly. It looks like they know about her. When Senri caused a commotion and destroyed itself, and so many followers ended up on the streets, I wanted to help them. Oribe continues on unconcernedly. Many of them were prejudiced against and persecuted by society. There was no way for them to return to a secular life. Orobe's words become more impassioned. I established the Blessed Congregation to save those driven out of society, an organization to carry on the teachings of the Congregation of the Blessed, not of Senri. But I hear that the amount of followers increased greatly during the organization's time as Senri, and it didn't have nearly as many in the days of the Congregation of the Blessed. It's also our duty to correct those who follow the false teachings. So they made the followers of Senri convert to the Blessed Congregation. And what are the Congregation of the Blessed's teachings? To bestow salvation and hope unto man. Those are the teachings of the organization's founder. She almost sighs hearing it. A dirty old man drowning in lust. That's the form the founder took in Toji's investigations. That's why the new founder's sect resented him and murdered him. Of course, perhaps before this, when the Congregation of the Blessed had been founded, he had held a large amount of faith. If that's the case, it wasn't the founder himself who was crazed by religion. Is there anything else? Toji's thoughts are cut short by Orobe's voice. Then, if you could describe what sort of person the previous founder was. The founder truly wanted to save the world. He never ceased in his endeavors to grant the wishes of the weak and share his blessings. The discrepancy is far too large to call this a difference in opinion. A religious fanatic, huh? Is the man named Orobe blindly obedient to the previous founder? That's what justifies all of his actions. If the founder rapes a woman, he comprehends it as making the woman happy. If the founder collects money, he knows that it's necessary to save the world. Even if the founder is gluttonous, he is sure that it's only because of his divine favor. Leader, it's almost time, Otsugi informs Orobe. Toji looks at her watch too. It's not even 3 yet. It appears their interview has been cut short. If you'll excuse me then. Orobe leaves the room. Well, that's enough for now, is it not? Should be. Now get the fuck out of here. We're going to conduct some human sacrifices in here. You need to leave. She heads outside and lights a cigarette. Should she have probed a little deeper? Maybe she should have played dumb and asked about the incident anyway. Toji derides herself on her tone. She's still not used to doing interviews yet. Maybe she should just, sneak inside and see what they're up to. I exhale a big sigh in front of a large pile of documents I just finished organizing. It's an account of the money I've spent working on cases. There aren't any personal expenses included, so it's mostly traveling expenses. I won't be paid if I don't scrounge together receipts and make sure they match my account book exactly. There's nothing I can do about that though, since it's the government that's paying me. The reward payment I get is a different payment, but it's not a large sum by itself. Until I get some information related to the case, I might have to take some basic requests. I don't even want to think about having to get a loan from a shady organization. Evening comes and I leave the office. Maybe I should stop by somewhere before I head home. Well, obviously we should go to our favorite place, Moon World. Okay, well apparently we should go to the Olbert Girls Academy. Not really sure why we're going there though. I walk over to Olbert Girls Academy. It's been a while since I've been here, huh? Oh, hello Nissan. Before I have time to be overwhelmed by memories, Yukari calls out to me. Hey. It's not every day that I see you here. I guess not. I can't admit to her that it was because I had nothing else to do. Hello, Tokisaka-sensei. Oh, Sato-san, huh? It's been a while. Yes, it's good to see you're well, sensei. I'm not a teacher anymore, you know. You don't have to call me that. Well, a teacher is a teacher. Aimu doesn't budge. Heading home, you two? Yes, I have to shop for dinner first, though. What's on the menu tonight? I think stew would be nice. For some reason, Aimu is the one who answers. You're right, I'll do that then. For some reason, Yukari agrees. You eating with us tonight? I ask Aimu. No, I'm going home. Then why did you say stew? Stew, huh? Well, I want some shamo. Nothing expensive. I'm immediately shot down. How about fish? Yes, I think cod was cheap at the fish shop. Maybe I'll do that. Guess I have no say in this. Then I'll need cabbage and tofu. Nissan, is there anything else you'd like in it? You're asking me? Then you've got to put green onions in it, right? How ordinary. For some reason, she's disappointed. Come on, I'm not stupid enough to suggest shamo or something there. Though maybe I should have suggested chicken. I finish dinner and return to my room. I'll go to the Kuchiki hospital tomorrow. I've already told them I'll be there. There are several things I'll need to ask. Not that I expect I'll get answers to all of them, but I should be able to figure some things out. Hopefully something connected to the case. Maybe we'll finally be able to question Ayato. Probably not, though. The club room after school. Yukiko sits, thinking, in front of her still white sketchbook. All she's thinking about is what she should draw. She can't think of anything. She'd like some advice, but Yukari hasn't come to the room yet. Kohane's there instead. She's an art club member, but Yukiko's never seen her actually draw anything. She doubts it'll do any good asking her for advice. Kohane has pushed some desks together in the corner of the room and is lying on them reading a book. Yukiko is pretty sure a professor would give her a stern warning if they saw that, but for some reason, the sight of Kohane like that isn't strange at all to her. Their eyes meet and Yukiko hurriedly looks away.
Hey, Yukiko-chan.
Kohane sits up and addresses her.
Yes? I've been wanting to ask you this for a while, but do you remember how we used to play together a long time ago?
Huh? A long time ago? She's heard that she knew Kohane a long time ago, but she doesn't really remember any of it. That's pretty fucking weird. Why would you not remember that? She has faint memories of Kohane's existence, but...
I'm sorry, I don't have a good memory. Well, I know you're forgetful, so don't worry about it.
Kohane smiles bitterly. Yukiko feels a stinging pain in her heart when she sees that expression.
Then do you remember the rabbit-ear iris? Rabbit-ear iris?
The name of a flower, and another meaning.
Do you mean Arawa no Narihira? Right, the poem about the robe.
Ragged robe worn close as my wife's love, bitter cold kept out by both. As earnestly longing for you, I continue my journey, rising again today with these thoughts. It's an acrostic poem whose beginning syllables make the words rabbit-ear iris.
We played with those poems a lot. You don't remember that either, do you? I'm sorry.
Yukiko shakes her head. She knows what an acrostic poem is, but she doesn't remember playing with them.
Like you, in my dreams, I see you kissing me. Your smile sneaky. Coyly you whisper to me, "Oh."
The syllables at the beginning of the lines make Yukiko.
You came up with that pretty quickly.
She's honestly impressed.
How about you dream like fresco? Kaleidoscope visions of beauty. Ha! Reality, I ask. Nay, that's pushing it a little, I guess.
The beginnings make Yukari, and the ends make Kohane. She envies Kohane's cleverness at being able to come up with these things so quickly.
Oh?
The door opens and Yukari comes in.
Were you doing something fun?
Yukari asks, noticing Yukiko's smile.
Not really. Just talking to Tori-san a little.
I see. Yukari seems happy for some reason.
Tokisaka-san? Yes?
Yukari nods, still smiling.
I don't know what to draw.
She shows Yukari her blank sketchbook. She's surprised she managed to ask. It's something Yukiko can't find the answer to inside of herself. But she thinks Yukari will be able to give her an answer right away.
Well...
Yukari merely puts her finger to her chin and thinks.
It would be best to draw something you like.
Yeah, I didn't think about that one. Something she likes. Like a hobby? Does she have anything or anyone she likes? She stares absently at Yukari. She recalls the Virgin Mary she was drawing. Both seem like they'd be difficult. And then there was that man she met in the park. Yukiko doubts she'll be able to draw any of them. It would be weird if she started drawing him and Yukari is like, "Why are you drawing my brother?" The Kuchiki Hospital. Perhaps due to my request beforehand, a familiar figure is waiting for me outside the entrance.
It's been a while, Tokisaka-san.
It's Kuchiki Fumiya. He's Chizuru's brother and the current director of the Kuchiki Hospital. Hello. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today when you're so busy. Oh, don't worry about it. It's all clerical work and meetings anyway. Please come inside. Fumiya beckons me inside with his gloved right hand. Excuse me. I'm led to the room. I'll bring some tea. Don't trouble yourself. I think it'll be a little easier to chat if we wet our throats. Having stopped me from rushing things, Fumiya leaves the room. Phew. Guess I'm the only one being impatient. I sit down on the couch. Rushing won't help anyone. I relax my shoulders. I'll just ask whatever I can. Thanks for waiting. Fumiya brings in a round tray with 2 teacups on it.
Here you are.
Thanks. I express my gratitude and pick up a teacup. Warm steam rises from the cup of green tea. Alright, you wanted to ask about Kamizono Mayu-san. Fumiya adjusts his posture across from me. Yes, about her behavior at work, and if possible, the sort of people she associated with in her personal life. I don't pay close attention to every single nurse who works here. Well, I expected you'd say that. There's no way he could with the amount of people who work at the hospital. So please direct questions regarding Kamizono-san's behavior to the nurses or Dr. Yamanouchi. I understand. What about her work ethic then? This is just based on paperwork, but I don't believe there was anything suspicious about her. Fumiya shows me Kamizono Mayu's work records. It's divided into morning shifts, late shifts, night shifts, day shifts, and days off. This is her work record for the last month. She's never been absent or suddenly taken a long vacation. Just like normal, huh? Had you heard anything about her being religious? I doubt that. Hospitals are places that see death very often, so we're very careful with things of that sort. I see. It would be awful if someone tried to recruit emotionally unstable patients. We've been doing strict background checks on all the doctors and nurses since the incident last year. They're making sure their employees haven't done any suspicious things using their titles as doctors and nurses as a cover. Though their checks probably can't be completely trusted. I think there's a very low chance it was an inside job this time around. I try to reassure Fumiya with that information. There's a knock on the door. Excuse me. Fumiya walks to the entrance. Yes. Oh, it's you, Chizuru. I turn around at his words. Oh, hello, Tokisaka-san. Hello. Sorry to intrude. I stand up and greet her. It's fine. Nissan, here you are. Chizuru hands Fumiya a lunchbox. Sorry to trouble you like this all the time. Fumiya carries the lunchbox to the desk in the back. Supper? Yes, I always do this for him when he has night shifts. All the shops around here are closed by the time I go to eat, you see. Fumiya returns. It was much easier before my father retired, since I was at the clinic back at the house. Sounds pretty rough. Quite. We're severely short-staffed. We've even got Dr. Yamanouchi looking after inpatients, though she's supposed to be in obstetrics. How's the psychiatric ward? Well, since we lost Dr. Saito, we've had a doctor coming from a nearby hospital. You didn't transfer the patients? Well, we have the best hospitalization facilities. No, the most humane at least. We don't use iron bars or straitjackets unless we absolutely can't avoid it. I'm guessing that's where that one girl came from, the girl that like clawed her eye out. She probably came from the psychiatric ward. I see. A patient like Michiro probably wouldn't be allowed to walk around the hospital elsewhere. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it would be best to ask Dr. Yamanouchi about Kamizono-san. She interacted with her far more during her work. I understand. I finish drinking my tea and stand up from the couch. I may have other things to ask you at some point. Please bear with me then. Of course. I leave Fumiya's room. I'm supposed to go talk to Dr. Yamanouchi next, but first, I'll go check on Masaki. I head to the hospitalization wing and come to Masaki's room. A label on the door says Masaki Tomiyuki. Tokisaka-san? Just as I'm about to knock, Koharu addresses me. Oh, Dr. Yamanouchi. Do you need Masaki-san for something? Well, I thought I'd see how he was doing. He should be awake now, so I don't mind you visiting him, but please. I know, I'm just going to chat with him. There's just one thing I'd like you to verify for me first, Dr. Yamanouchi. What is it? He, Masaki-kun, was receiving psychiatric treatment, right? That's the only conclusion when you consider his relationship with Kamizono Mayu and her position at the hospital. I want to know if he received treatment from Rokushiki. That's more than just one thing. They're both true, of course. Koharu nods, albeit reluctantly. Thank you. But I don't think Masaki-san met with Dr. Saito more than a few times. He only started coming to the hospital last March after all. Last March. A month before the incident and Rokushiki's arrest. If he'd received treatment for a long period of time, he could have had his whole life twisted into madness like the previous culprits. I doubt even someone as skilled as he at toying with people's minds could have an effect on someone after only a few visits. Can I really believe that he's unrelated to this case? Well, I mean, we already kind of concluded he was related to the case. While I'm thinking, Koharu knocks on the door. I'm coming in, Masaki-san. I follow Koharu into the room. Hey. You're... Masaki looks up at me and falls silent. I had expected a reaction like this. How's your arm? Masaki doesn't answer. I don't ask him again, instead just waiting for his reply. Quite honestly, I think standing here in silence is a lot more stressful to the patient than talking about something. Dr. Yamanouchi doesn't interject either. Rather, it seems like she wants to, but can't. I still can't move my left hand much. He holds his bandaged hand out this way. His fingers are bent halfway. Apparently, I'll be starting rehabilitation after my cut heals. How do you feel? Not bad, thanks to you. Looks like your blood really helped. Well, I have been laying off the smokes lately. I smoke sometimes too, don't worry about it. Really? Want a cig? No smoking in the hospital rooms. I take out a box of cigarettes, but Koharu stops me. So she says. I knew that. What a coincidence. So did I. Tokisaka-san. Are they always just trying to piss her? Is he always just trying to intentionally piss her off? Dr. Yamanouchi is giving me kind of a scary glare. What are you doing when you leave? Dunno. It's a vague answer. I'll be able to leave at the beginning of next week, but I haven't really thought about what I'll do afterward. That's dangerous. He's already attempted suicide once, which is what landed him here in the first place. There's a good chance he could do it again if he leaves here and has nowhere to go. He's a critical witness to this case. I can't let him die that easily. Sheesh. I scratch my head. There are too many things to take into consideration. I step out of Masaki's room. That's right, Dr. Yamanouchi. There are still a few things I'd like to ask you. I'll answer anything I can. It has to do with Kamizono Mayu. She was definitely in charge of Masaki-kun, yes? How was their relationship? Normal, as far as I know. Koharu answers cooperatively. Maybe she figured I'd go ask Masaki if she didn't. It wasn't bad? No, not that I know much more than that. For instance, if they had a more than platonic relationship. I could answer that question with the autopsy results, but there's no need to tell her that. If I had to say, it was more that Kamizono-san seemed concerned about Masaki-san. Outside of their relationship of patient and nurse? Yes, I think you'd understand if you asked a nurse Kamizono-san was close to. Who would that be? She should have today off. I'll have to ask her if I get another opportunity. Well, I'll be going then. Alright, take care. When I head outside, the sun is quite low in the western sky. Maybe I should stop by somewhere before I head home. And back to the map we go. Where should we go this time? I guess we should head to Kichijoji Station? Evening at Kichijoji Station. The bars near the station are pretty packed, likely because it's Saturday. I could go for a drink before heading home. Moon World it is. I start heading in that direction. Before I've taken a few steps, however. Oh, a girl wearing an Oba Academy uniform. You're the girl from before. I wanted to thank you for the other day. The girl bows her head. Don't worry about it. That's right. What's your name? It's Kaihara Yukiko. Kaihara. The same surname as the woman I met before at Moonworld. I see, so that would make her... do you need something? No, it's nothing important. The reason she seems young for a mother is because she adopted her child, I suppose. And you are? I'm Tokisaka Reiji. Tokisaka? This time, she's the one who's surprised. Do you know Yukari? I take the initiative to ask her. Yes, we're in the same club. So you're in the art club too? Yes, though I just started. She looks down, embarrassed. I don't know what to draw yet. Do you think you could model for me? Huh? Dumbfounded, I end up responding with a dopey grunt. Oh, no, it's nothing. Please forget I asked. She shakes her head and hands, denying it. Well, it wouldn't be much fun drawing an old fart like me. Honestly, I don't think modeling is my true calling. Why don't you ask Yukari? I bet she'd do it. No, Yukiko stutters and hangs her head. Want me to ask her? Huh? No, there's no need for that. Alright. I back off after she gives me a menacing look. Please just forget about it. Sure. I'm sorry. I'll just go. She turns around and heads into the station. I just don't get girls her age. Including Yukari. Well, Yukari's incomprehensible in her own unique way, huh? I should go home. I thought we were going to go to Moonworld. After dinner, I lie back against the couch and close my eyes. You'll become a cow if you fall asleep right after you eat. Yukari brings out a teapot and some cups from the kitchen.
I'm not sleeping yet. Only sleeping people say that.
I really wasn't, though. She pours the tea from pot to cup.
Nissan, do you know what the weather will be like tomorrow?
Tomorrow? You doing something?
Yes, I thought we'd sketch outside.
In the dead of winter?
That's why I asked you about the weather.
I admire her dedication. I don't remember the specifics, but there shouldn't be rain or snow.
That's good then.
Yukari still seems anxious. You should be glad the forecast's in the paper at all, you know. It used to be a military secret. They'd never announce it.
I know. You've told me several times, Nissan.
Have I really said it that often? Well, not like I've got any proof to refute her. And knowing my personality, I don't doubt it's something I've said a dozen times over.
I've also heard plenty of times about how during the war, key locations on maps became simple fields and forests to control information.
Sorry about that. Apologizing is pretty much all I can do here. Ueno Station on Sunday is crowded with people from various other regions. The nearby shopping district has New Year's decorations for sale, so there are even people from the Tokyo suburbs here too. Toji stares at some documents in a coffee shop near the station. They're about the victim, Itose Mizuki. Both she and her mother had been members of the Blessed Congregation, and she was a very devout follower. There wasn't anything particularly unusual about the way Itose Mizuki was treated within the organization. She was just a typical member. She wasn't a particularly attractive woman. She was ordinary in every single way. It's a terrible thing to say, but she was the sort of person who probably never would have drawn attention to herself had she not been murdered. Conversely, it means there was no reason for her to be killed. Then was it a random killing? But considering the situation, that seems impossible. It's clear that she was killed with some intent, or a plan in mind. Phew. Nothing comes to mind as she sits here looking at these documents. Toji's not much of a thinker in the first place. Solving problems physically is far more agreeable to her. She'll collect all the information she can and leave the thinking part to him. She stands up and leaves the shop. December's half over and the wind has grown quite cold. Toji crosses the road and heads over to the station, her left sleeve fluttering in the wind. A flyer stuck to a street light flutters around as well. The name Takashiro catches her eye, stopping Toji in her tracks. She tears off the barely clinging flyer. She can barely make out the words, "Anything solved, Takashiro Detective Agency, will find missing people and things," on the faded, wrinkled paper. Looks like it was handmade on a mimeograph. From the writing, she'd say it wasn't made by the detective himself, Shoujo, but instead his wife, Kazuna. She takes another look around the station and finds the same flyer stuck up all over the place. These flyers are pretty old. They were probably made before the Takashiros left for Zushi. Seeing as the detective isn't around anymore, they probably shouldn't still be up. Guess I should take them down. She tears down a flyer on a nearby telephone pole. Some of them have money-lending flyers taped up over them. She tears those down too. She hadn't noticed them before, but there are quite a few of them taped up. She doubts there's much reason to tape a bunch of them up in the same place, though. Toji smiles wryly, imagining Kazuna hanging them up. She was probably doing everything she could to support her husband. But sticking them on food carts is probably a little excessive. Real swell. She approaches the food cart to tear the flyer off its leg when she notices a woman staring straight at it. Oh hey, it's the dude that makes it's the dude that makes god damn, what did he make? He makes like it wasn't tofu, it was like ramen or something. It's like a ramen salesman. Like he shows up, he's in Cartagra. It's sort of like a running joke. Or no, I think it was takoyaki. Yeah, takoyaki, not ramen. The old man at the cart is staring at the woman as well. She's probably about the same age as Toji. It doesn't look as if she's staring at it out of mere curiosity. Maybe she's looking to hire a detective. Hello, little lady. Would you care for some takoyaki?
Oh, excuse me. Could I ask you about this flyer?
Flyer? Ah, the detective agency.
You know them?
Of course, the missus came and asked me herself to put it up for her husband's business after all.
The old man looks off into the distance as he speaks.
That husband was a master detective too. He solved all sorts of impossible cases way back when.
Sounds impressive.
Of course, he was a regular customer of mine, an impressive guy for sure.
Sounds like excessive praise, but she can't feel too bad about it since it's a friend of hers. Nonetheless. Excuse me, are you looking for a detective?
Huh? Who might you be?
When Toji calls out to her, the woman responds with a clear wariness.
Pardon me. I'm acquainted with the Takashiro Detective Agency.
She points at the flyer.
He's not in Tokyo at the moment, so he won't be able to take any jobs anytime soon, but... Huh? Really?
Can't she just go to Sushi or Sushi or wherever?
The old man mutters, off to the side.
Could you tell me what you need a detective for? Huh? But...
Oh, don't worry. This one's a bit of an influential face around here. You can trust her.
Right, I'm searching for someone.
My true self.
Searching for someone, huh?
You should try the Tokisaka Detective Agency in Shinjuku then.
Shinjuku. This is my first time in Tokyo, so I'm not really sure where anything is.
The Inner Yamanote line in that station will take you there. I think his office was... She draws a simple map on the back of one of the Takashiro Detective Agency flyers she's carrying. It should be around here.
Thank you very much. I'll head there later.
Oh, I just realized that's actually Meguri. I didn't recognize her at first. That's her. The woman bows her head and leaves.
He finally gets a customer and she goes elsewhere. He's just not a lucky guy, huh?
What good's a customer gonna do a guy who's not even in Tokyo? Toji reaches out to the flyer still on the cart.
Whoa there, not so fast. Leave that be.
There's no point if he can't accept the jobs, right? And won't it just look worse for him if it's sitting out getting worn by the elements?
It's fine. He's living his life to the best of his ability this way too.
The old man looks off into the distance again for some reason. I'm not sure I understand.
This is why young folks these days.
Toji leaves quietly while the old man grumbles.
Kids these days, they don't know no respect.
Sunday afternoon. Yukari walks the bank of the pond, sketchbook in hand. Next to her is Kohane, and Yukiko follows behind them. The three of them have gathered for outdoor sketching today.
Where are we gonna draw? Well, let's see. This should be fine. We can see the Benzaiten across the pond from here.
Benzaiten. A shrine to the Japanese Buddhist goddess Benzaiten, who originated from the Hindu goddess Saraswati? Kohane immediately sits down on a nearby bench.
I'm gonna read my book here then.
Sure. Kohane not sketching isn't a new thing, so Yukari doesn't mind. Yukiko settles down on a nearby bench as well.
You could draw the Benzaiten from here. Yes, I think I will.
Yukiko agrees, staring out across the pond. It's the first time Yukari has seen her with her hair down. You could do all sorts of things with long hair. It must be nice. Yukari can't help but touch her own hair.
What?
Yukiko tilts her head after Yukari stares at her for a little while.
No, it's nothing. Anyway, you can do it. Right.
Yukiko faces forward. Yukari gazes out over the pond to prepare her sketching as well. Swans are resting their wings on the pond. A raft of ducks is swimming together as well. She decides to sketch that. Their pencils move quietly for a short time. She occasionally steals a glance over at Yukiko to see how she's doing. Yukiko glances between the scenery and her sketchbook, a stern expression on her face. Maybe she's warm. She takes off her jacket and pins up the hair falling across her forehead. I guess I didn't need to worry. Yukari removes her shawl as well, folding it up and laying it aside.
I sure could go for some duck right now,
Kohane mutters, gazing out over the pond.
No hunting, okay? I know, they wouldn't sell anyway.
If they would you hunt them?
The butcher near here sells yakitori at the end of the year, you know. Huh? Does he catch the birds here? I somehow doubt that.
Kohane stands up and makes her way over to the pond.
Don't make them fly away. I won't.
Kohane starts taking a walk next to the pond. She probably got bored of sitting still. Kohane's tied-up hair sways as she walks. She passes by a woman in a kimono.
Oh.
Yukari rises.
Hello. Hello, Kuchiki-san.
It's the mother of her former classmate. They've met several times.
Sketching? Yes.
It's difficult to speak with her. Even though they've met, they haven't spoken much. And...
May I take a picture?
Oh? Chizuru takes out a camera.
I don't want you to model or anything, just be there as a part of the scenery. Well, if that's all, alright. What about your friend? Let me ask.
Yukari heads over to Yukiko, who was watching their exchange uneasily.
An acquaintance of mine would like to take a picture. Huh? Then should we move? No, that's not it. She wants to take a picture of us sketching. Huh? Then we should strike a pose, right?
Yohane returns and jumps into the conversation.
No, she just wants to take it as if we were a part of the scenery. If that's all, then I don't really mind.
So Yukiko says, but her expression is still uneasy.
Then I'll go read my book.
Kohane returns to her bench, shrugging off her coat.
You can just keep drawing. I'm sorry. It's fine.
Yukari nods to Chizuru and returns to her previous spot, picking up her sketchbook again. Trying not to pay attention to the camera, she composes herself, then stares out across the pond. Kohane's posing like the thinker.
Phew.
She relaxes, feeling much less tense. Perhaps she can thank Kohane for that, to some extent anyway. She checks on Yukiko. Her pencil has completely stopped.
Thank you.
Chizuru bows after taking her picture.
Don't mention it. I wonder if Toko would be here if she were still alive.
Chizuru mutters. Jesus. The depression. Yukari can't respond.
I'm sorry for bothering you. Well, see you again.
Chizuru leaves.
Who's Toko?
Kohane asks.
A girl I used to know.
That's the only thing Yukari can say in response. Oh god. Yeah, then she got brutally murdered. Well, most likely at least. After checking out a variety of things in town, I head back to Shinjuku. Not that I found anything of importance. Alright, what to do next? Okay. Well, off to Moon World we go. In front of Moon World, near Kichijoji Station.
Oh, Tokisake-kun.
Kyoko is sweeping in front of the shop. It's not every day I see you cleaning outside.
Well, I do it all the time. Not usually at this time, though.
There's a pile of dead leaves on the ground. Makes me want to roast some potatoes.
Not in the middle of the neighborhood, you won't.
I'm kidding.
I've got some steamed potatoes. Want some?
Maybe just a little. No idea how they'll go with coffee, though. I sit down at the counter and some bite-sized potatoes and coffee are brought out to me.
Here you are.
I dig into the steamed potatoes with a fork and take a bite. These are pretty sweet.
That'd be the potatoes.
Never would have guessed. Along with coffee, honestly, I'm not sure how well they go together. No, they pretty much don't go together at all. It's a pretty weird combination. Are these on the menu?
No, I made them for a snack.
You'll get fat if you eat this kind of stuff all the time.
Oh, shut up.
Kyoko leans out over the counter. It'd be a problem if those got any bigger, you know. I'd sure like a feel, but I'll restrain myself for now. Yeah, for now.
What is it?
Just fighting with my worldly desires, that's all. Jesus Christ. After dinner, I retreat to my room. I just got word that Masaki's being discharged tomorrow. Ooh, things are about to get interesting. Like I was thinking the other day, they'll probably need to keep him close by to monitor him. Well, what should I do?